Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier-to-manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. The rarest zebra in the world, spots instead of stripes. In Kenya, an incredible zebra was once spotted with spots instead of the usual stripes. This rare phenomenon occurred due to a genetic mutation that literally transformed our understanding of what zebras look like. This unusual zebra attracted great attention from conservationists and biologists, as such deviations are rare and require special attention to preserve the species. It's not every day you see a zebra with spots instead of stripes. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. Did you know there's a lava river that has been burning for decades? In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there's the Nyiragongo volcano, which is famous for its lava lake, the largest in the world. This volcanic lake is one of the few on the planet that remains almost constantly active. Its lava flows at an incredible speed, up to 100 kilometers per hour, creating a genuine river of fire. Since scientists began monitoring the volcano in the mid-20th century, this fiery flow has practically never stopped. The lava river of Nyiragongo is a stunning representation of nature's raw power, and its heat can be felt for kilometers around. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Can it be true? Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia? Yes, it's no mistake. Camels, once brought to Australia from the Middle East for farming and transportation, are now being exported back to Saudi Arabia. Camels have thrived in Australia's environment, and their population has grown significantly. Now, they are exported back to the Middle East, where they are used for similar purposes. Surprisingly, Australia is now a global leader in camel exports. Who would have thought that these desert animals would complete such a unique historical cycle? Octopuses lay eggs like chickens. Octopuses are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs like many other animals. A female octopus can lay thousands of tiny eggs and guards them diligently until they hatch. During this period, she does not eat and devotes all her energy to protecting her offspring. After the eggs hatch, the mother octopus often dies from exhaustion. This self-sacrificing parenting instinct makes octopuses remarkable creatures, willing to give everything for the next generation. Did you know that a duck's quack actually has an echo? Despite the popular myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo, that's not true. It's not that ducks lack an echo, it's that our ears sometimes fail to catch it. The physics of sound works the same as for other sounds, but due to the frequency of the quack and how it spreads, it may seem quieter or barely noticeable. Next time you're near a duck, listen closely. You might catch its quack echo sounding like it's in stereo. It's nature's version of a whispering gallery, but with ducks. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Did you know that Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd? The term nerd, used to describe someone passionate about knowledge and science, was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his book If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. This whimsical term quickly gained popularity and became a beloved label for those who are enthusiastic about learning and geek culture. Thanks to Dr. Seuss, nerd has evolved into a term of endearment for those who love to dive deep into the world of science and intellectual pursuits. The Great Barrier Reef, a giant natural wonder. The Great Barrier Reef is not only the largest living structure on Earth, but also a bustling underwater city where thousands of species of fish, coral, and other marine creatures reside. It stretches over 2,300 kilometers along Australia's coast and is even visible from space. This natural wonder plays a crucial role in maintaining the ocean's ecosystem by filtering water and providing shelter for marine life. Unfortunately, climate change and ocean pollution threaten its existence. Scientists worldwide are working to preserve this astonishing underwater world for future generations. How about this? The discovery of DNA changed science forever. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick made a revolutionary discovery when they presented the structure of DNA. This monumental achievement revealed the double helix structure of DNA, the very building block of life. Their discovery unlocked the secrets of heredity and laid the foundation for countless advances in genetics and medicine. It forever changed our understanding of life itself, paving the way for genetic therapies and innovations we use today. El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. Did you know that an atomic bomb almost destroyed North Carolina? In 1961, the U.S. Air Force accidentally dropped 2 atomic bombs over North Carolina. One of them went through 5 stages of activation, and only the last step didn't trigger, saving the state from a nuclear catastrophe. Both incidents happened due to issues with the aircraft. This tragedy, which could have changed history, shows just how close we sometimes come to global disaster. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No 2 giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So, next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. Have you ever wondered that in Italy there is an exploding vegetable garden? In the Italian village of Travestere, there is an astonishing phenomenon. Plants in local vegetable gardens can literally explode under certain weather conditions. This happens due to the accumulation of gas in the soil, which, with sudden changes in pressure or temperature, can cause small bursts. The locals call this phenomenon the Garden of Fire. Science does not yet have a clear explanation, but it has become a part of local culture and a tourist attraction. It turns out the world's smallest reptile is the size of a fingertip. The world's smallest reptile is the leaf chameleon, native to Madagascar. This tiny creature measures only 29 millimeters from nose to tail, smaller than a fingertip. Despite its minuscule size, male leaf chameleons boast bright green and orange patterns, while the females have elegant shades of brown and beige. Discovered in 2012, this remarkable species continues to amaze scientists with its tiny yet colorful existence. Male seahorses, a fascinating exception in nature. Did you know that seahorses are the only animals where males carry the offspring? Yes, it's the male seahorses that take on the role of pregnancy. They have a special pouch on their abdomen where the female deposits her eggs. After this, the male seahorse incubates the offspring for about 3 weeks, eventually giving birth to baby seahorses. This unique process makes seahorses one of the most unusual creatures in the animal kingdom. Male sea dragons and pipefish, close relatives of seahorses, also possess this remarkable ability. Nature is full of surprises, and seahorses are living proof that it can break its own rules. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Can you imagine? Your blood vessels could wrap around the Earth twice. Have you ever wondered how complex the human circulatory system is? If you laid out all the blood vessels in your body end to end, they would stretch about 96,000 kilometers, enough to wrap around the Earth twice. This intricate network of arteries, veins, and capillaries is vital for transporting blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. This amazing feat of nature highlights just how complex and beautifully designed our bodies are. Now that you know this fact, you can marvel even more at how your body works. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's. Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust, like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know in some places on Earth you weigh a little more or less than in others. Sperm whales, the loudest creatures on Earth. Sperm whales are underwater sound machines. They produce clicks and vocalizations that can reach up to 230 decibels. That's several times louder than a jet engine. These sounds help sperm whales communicate over vast distances and navigate the ocean depths. They use them like sonar to hunt giant squid at depths of over 1,000 meters. These clicks are so powerful that they can even stun their prey from a distance. Imagine if humans had similar abilities. We could communicate across entire oceans. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. Can you believe that in the USA there was once a reign of spiders? In the small town of Golden, Colorado, in 2015, an unusual natural phenomenon occurred, which locals called the reign of spiders. Thousands of spiders fell from the sky, filling the streets and yards. Scientists explain this by the fact that spiders use a technique called ballooning, where they take off into the sky on their webs and travel great distances using wind. This phenomenon can be observed in various parts of the world, but such a massive rain shocked the locals. Did you know that artificial intelligence has been around since the 1950s? Artificial intelligence, or AI, began its development in the mid-20th century and has since revolutionized various industries. From virtual assistants to autonomous vehicles, AI has become an integral part of our daily lives. Today, AI is used in healthcare, finance, transportation, and entertainment, transforming how we live and work. The growth of AI is an incredible journey of technological evolution, showcasing how far we've come in understanding and creating intelligent machines. Did you know that Mount Everest grows every year? Each year, the world's highest peak, Everest, grows a little taller, by a full 4 millimeters. This happens due to the tectonic plates beneath the Himalayas, which slowly but steadily push the mountain upwards. These tectonic processes have been going on for millions of years, and every time climbers reach the summit, they stand just a bit higher than their predecessors. Imagine, every step on Everest's summit is a step into new heights. It's not just a physical achievement, but a testament to the incredible natural forces that constantly reshape our planet. Everest is a symbol of nature's grandeur and its continuous movement forward. What if I told you that there's a desert in Chile where it snows? The Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth, but sometimes it snows. This rare natural phenomenon happens due to sudden climate changes and brings precipitation to regions that have not seen rain for years. Snow falling on the red sands of the desert creates an incredible contrast, making this place even more mysterious and astonishing. Tourists from around the world come to witness this unique natural wonder. Why is a group of owls called a parliament? Owls are often associated with wisdom, and perhaps that's why their collective noun is a parliament. This term is linked to ancient Greek and Roman myths, where owls symbolized knowledge and magic. The term gained popularity in English literature thanks to Chaucer's writings. Owls often gather as if they're deliberating, which resembles parliamentary meetings. These remarkable birds have keen vision and hearing, allowing them to hunt in the dark. So next time you see a group of owls, imagine them discussing the forest's most pressing matters at their owl assembly. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City, when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Did you know that Margherita pizza was named after a queen? Margherita pizza, one of the most popular types of pizza in the world, was named after Queen Margherita of Savoy, the wife of King Umberto I of Italy. Legend has it that the pizza was created to represent the colors of the Italian flag: red, tomatoes; white, mozzarella; and green, basil. This is not just a delicious dish, but also a symbol of Italian national pride and culinary tradition. So the next time you order Margherita pizza, think about its royal origins. Surprisingly, ancient mirrors were actually dangerous. Early mirrors were made from metals like copper or bronze, which could create blinding reflections and even accidental fires. In Roman times, convex mirrors that concentrated sunlight were popular, much like magnifying glasses. This made them both dangerous and expensive, accessible only to the wealthiest. Modern mirrors are safe, but ancient ones still hold a bit of magic and danger within them. The Shawshank Redemption, a movie that didn't become a legend right away. Who would have thought that one of the greatest films of all time, The Shawshank Redemption, initially flopped at the box office? When this masterpiece by Stephen King and director Frank Darabont was released in 1994, it didn't make much money in theaters. But thanks to word of mouth, the film gained popularity over time. People began recommending it to friends, and it gradually became a cult classic. Today, it tops many lists of the best films of all time, proving that the power of great storytelling and genuine audience love can make a film immortal. Is it true that Canada has mysterious singing sands? In Canada's Prince Edward Island National Park, there is a beach where the sand produces melodic sounds when walked upon. This phenomenon, known as singing sands, occurs due to friction between sand grains. This remarkable occurrence can only be heard on a few beaches in the world, and scientists are still unsure exactly why these sands sing. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. Did you know that ancient maps showed sea monsters? During the Age of Exploration, when sailors had no idea what lay beyond the horizon, maps often depicted enormous sea monsters. The cartographers who created them frequently drew giant squids, whales, and snake-like creatures in the seas and oceans, warning future travelers of what lay ahead. Some monsters on these maps were inspired by real encounters with unknown sea creatures, while others were pure fantasy. For sailors of that time, a map was not just a guide, but a warning about the dangers lurking beyond the known world. Did you know there are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way? Imagine this. There are about 3 trillion trees on Earth, while the Milky Way contains an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars. This means there are more trees on our planet than stars in our galaxy. This surprising fact highlights the abundance of life on Earth. Every time you walk through a forest or see a tree in your yard, remember how vital these giants are for sustaining life, providing oxygen, and regulating the climate. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city. And these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. Why zebra foals start running right after birth. Zebra foals can run just 1 hour after being born. This amazing ability helps them survive in the wild, where predators are always on the lookout. Baby zebras are born with strong legs that allow them to stand up quickly and keep up with their herd. Thanks to this skill, they can avoid danger from the very start of their lives. Imagine being able to run within an hour of being born. These striped cuties are ready to show off their impressive speed and agility right from the start. Believe it or not, birds can talk. Many species of parrots can mimic human speech, but not because they understand words. They memorize the sounds and rhythms they hear and repeat them with surprising accuracy. Moreover, some parrots can remember and reproduce dozens of phrases and even sing tunes. This ability has made them popular as pets, as they can mimic entire sentences from their owners, adding funny and sometimes unexpected elements to conversations. Is it possible in Tokyo, there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground? The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street and below you there's a whole underground city. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia, containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Did you know there's a basketball court on top of the U.S. Supreme Court building? Yes, you heard that right. At the very top of the U.S. Supreme Court building, there's a basketball court known as the highest court in the land. It's a place where judges and court staff can relax and play basketball between hearings. Imagine, after making important decisions, the justices can shed their robes and shoot some hoops, trading legal arguments for basketball shots. It's a truly unique combination of law and sport. Is it really possible that in Norway there is a tunnel where goats are herded every day? In Norway, there is the unique Lærdal Tunnel, which is considered the longest road tunnel in the world, stretching more than 24 kilometers. But what's surprising is that every spring this tunnel is not only used by cars, but also to herd goats. During migration, the animals cross the tunnel in search of pastures, and it has become a local tradition. Not only is it safer for the goats than mountain roads, but it also attracts tourists. What's a puggle? A baby echidna. Small, round, and unbelievably cute. Puggles are baby echidnas. These unique animals are one of the few egg-laying mammals, and their tiny babies hatch from eggs the size of jelly beans. After hatching, a puggle hides in its mother's pouch and feeds on her milk until it's strong enough to leave its cozy shelter. Unlike most other mammals, echidnas retain features that remind us of their ancient ancestors that lived millions of years ago. Each puggle is a little wonder of evolution. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Do you suffer from kenophobia, fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places where there is no furniture or objects, creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide-and-seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large, empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be. Can you imagine that on Mercury, the year is shorter than the day? On Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, time works in a completely different way than on Earth. It takes only 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete a full orbit around the Sun, but one full rotation on its axis takes 176 Earth days. This means that on Mercury, one day lasts twice as long as a year. Can you imagine living on a planet where morning and evening are separated by months? This astonishing fact makes Mercury one of the most peculiar planets in our solar system. Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. It's hard to believe, but giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae. Despite the fact that a giraffe's neck is much longer, both giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae, 7. These bones provide support for the head and allow neck mobility. In giraffes, they are simply much longer than in humans. This fascinating fact highlights the amazing diversity of evolution and nature, despite the external differences between species. Did you know that kangaroos can't jump backward? Kangaroos can easily leap up to 12 meters forward, but they're entirely unable to move backward. Their long and powerful tails provide balance, but also prevent backward propulsion. This limitation is due to the unique structure of their legs, which are solely adapted for forward jumping. Kangaroos are true masters of one-way leaping. Why did ancient Romans wear togas? The toga was a symbol of Roman civic authority and status. Only free men could wear it, and putting it on incorrectly was considered shameful. But it wasn't just about fashion. The toga was highly impractical and required constant adjusting, signifying that its wearer was above manual labor. Plus, it was so hot and uncomfortable that Romans only wore it on special occasions. Who would have thought ancient fashion could be so complicated and impractical? You won't believe it. Blood only lives for 120 days. Imagine that your red blood cells, which carry oxygen throughout your body, live for just 120 days. This is literally one of the wonders of our body. Old cells are recycled in the liver and spleen, while new ones are born in the bone marrow, ready to continue their vital mission. This constant process of renewal allows your body to function seamlessly. It's amazing how our body manages this cycle, maintaining the stable operation of all organs without us even thinking about its complexity. Cleopatra. Closer to us than to the pyramids. Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, lived closer in time to us than to the construction of the pyramids. Her reign ended in 30 BC, while the Great Pyramids of Giza were built around 2600 BC. It's mind-blowing to think that Cleopatra is closer in time to the modern world than to those ancient wonders she could have seen in her Egypt. This is a vivid reminder of how history can challenge our perception of time. Is it true that ancient Egyptians used crocodile dung as a contraceptive? Yes, it's true. Around 2,000 years before Christ, women in ancient Egypt used crocodile dung as a method to prevent pregnancy. They believed this method would block sperm from entering. While this might sound strange and even risky from a modern medical perspective, people back then sought any means of birth control. This historical fact shows just how far humanity has come in the development of medicine. Thanks to modern research, we now have much safer and more reliable methods of contraception. It's hard to believe, but sea stars can evert their stomachs. Sea stars have a bizarre and fascinating way of eating. They can push their stomachs outside their bodies to digest their prey. When a sea star encounters something too big to fit in its mouth, like a clam or mussel, it wraps its stomach around the prey, releasing digestive enzymes to break down the food. Once the meal is digested, the sea star pulls its stomach back inside, along with the nutrients. This unique method makes them some of the most unconventional predators in the ocean. Talk about dining al fresco. Why is kissing camels banned in Egypt, and what could happen if you disobey? In Egypt, you can find signs warning, "No camel kissing," and it's not as strange as it sounds. These animals can be unpredictable, and they also carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. Despite their friendly appearance, camels can show aggression, especially when they feel threatened. It's better to keep a safe distance and settle for a photo to avoid any unpleasant surprises. The broken chains at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. At the feet of the Statue of Liberty are broken chains, symbolizing freedom from oppression and injustice. These chains, often hidden from view, send a powerful message, the continuous march towards emancipation and liberty. They serve as a reminder that the struggle for freedom never truly ends, and every step taken is part of the larger journey towards justice. The Statue of Liberty's broken chains represent hope and liberation for all. The first item ever sold on eBay was a broken laser pointer. In 1995, eBay founder Pierre Omidyar listed a broken laser pointer as a test for his new platform. Surprisingly, it was bought by a collector of broken laser pointers for $14.83. This unexpected success demonstrated the potential of online commerce, showing that even seemingly useless items could find a buyer. Who would have thought that a broken object would change the world of online sales forever? It's hard to believe, but it rains diamonds on Saturn. Researchers believe that lightning storms in Saturn's atmosphere turn methane into carbon, which then crystallizes into diamonds. These diamond drops can reach several centimeters in size and, as they fall from great heights, turn into graphite. Thus, on Saturn, you can witness a rain of precious stones. At such depths and under high pressure, they turn back into carbon. But the very idea of this phenomenon is breathtaking. Did you know that the USA leads the world in Olympic medals? The United States holds the all-time record for Olympic Games medals. American athletes have earned more than 2,900 medals throughout the history of the Games. It is the only country to have won more than 1,000 gold medals. The USA continues to dominate, winning medals at every Olympics since the start of the Games in 1896. In 2024, at the Paris Games, the USA became the first country to surpass 3,000 total medals. This is a phenomenal achievement. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area but also one of the least populated states in the world. Olympus Mons is the largest volcano in the solar system. Olympus Mons, located on Mars, is the largest volcano in the solar system. It stands at a height of 21 kilometers with a base diameter of 600 kilometers. This colossal mountain is so huge that if you stacked 3 Mount Everests on top of each other, they still wouldn't reach its summit. Olympus Mons is a true mountain of fire and one of Mars's greatest mysteries. Did you know that earthquakes also happen on the moon? Yes, indeed. The moon experiences its own kind of tremors, known as moonquakes. These shakes can be caused by Earth's gravitational pull, meteor impacts, or tidal forces, and they can last for up to an hour. Surprisingly, moonquakes can reach magnitudes of up to 5.5 on the Richter scale. Just imagine, the moon, our constant celestial companion, reacts to Earth's gravitational pull as if dancing in space alongside our planet. This shows that the moon is more alive and dynamic than we might think. What do kangaroos really need such big tails for? These huge tails not only provide balance but also serve as a fifth leg. When walking, kangaroos lean on their tails, allowing their hind legs to move faster and with less strain. During jumps, the tail helps them maintain equilibrium, and at high speeds, it serves as a stabilizer. Scientists believe that without such a tail, kangaroos wouldn't be able to make their famous 10-meter leaps forward. It's a true multi-tool for these amazing Australian marsupials. The invention of the sandwich. The story behind the snack, John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, invented the sandwich as a convenient snack to eat while playing cards. Not wanting to leave the table, he asked his servant to bring him meat between 2 slices of bread. Thus, the sandwich was born, a perfect snack for multitaskers and gamblers alike. So the next time you enjoy a sandwich, remember that it's more than just a meal. It's a historic snack born from the gaming table. Can you believe it? There are islands that appear and disappear. In some parts of the world, especially in the Indian Ocean region, there are sandy islands that appear and disappear depending on the tides. These islands are known as ghost islands. They may only exist for a few hours or days before being submerged again. This incredible natural phenomenon raises questions among scientists about how such unstable ecosystems form. Ready to walk the entire Great Wall of China? If you're planning to walk the entire length of the Great Wall of China, prepare for a monumental journey. The Great Wall stretches for over 5,000 miles, or about 8,000 kilometers across China. Walking the entire distance could take around 18 months, walking every day. The Great Wall is not just an ancient feat of engineering, but one of the world's greatest wonders, offering breathtaking views and glimpses into China's vast history at every step. Did you know that elephants can hear with their feet? Elephants have a unique ability to sense sound waves through the ground. Their sensitive feet can detect vibrations from several kilometers away. These vibrations help elephants detect approaching predators or other herds. Furthermore, they use this ability to communicate with each other over long distances, transmitting signals and warnings. This sensitivity makes elephants remarkable animals, capable of hearing what is imperceptible to human ears. Eyes bigger than the brain. The amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are. Large eyes, but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. Did you know a group of kangaroos is called a mob? Yes, that's true. A group of these fascinating animals is called a mob, and the name perfectly describes their social behavior. Kangaroos live in large groups, moving and foraging together. Their social structure is well coordinated, with each mob acting as a unit. This makes them unique not only biologically but also behaviorally. Now, when you see a group of kangaroos, you can call them a mob and impress your friends with this fun fact. Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quiaracura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon, but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Can you imagine the world's longest traffic jam lasted 12 days? In 2010, China experienced the longest traffic jam in history, stretching over 100 kilometers and lasting an incredible 12 days. The traffic jam occurred on the highway connecting Beijing and Inner Mongolia, caused by a combination of road accidents and a massive number of vehicles. Some drivers were stuck for so long that they had to negotiate with local villagers for food and water. This event became a true test of patience and endurance and remains one of the most epic traffic jams ever recorded. How Albert Einstein inspired the character of Yoda. Did you know that the appearance of the legendary Star Wars character, Master Yoda, was partially inspired by Albert Einstein? The filmmakers used photos of the great scientist to give Yoda a wise and thoughtful look. Einstein's genius features, such as his wrinkles, pensive expression, and tired yet intelligent gaze, were the foundation for creating one of the most recognizable characters in film history. This fascinating fact shows how modern cultural icons can be linked to real geniuses of the past. The next time you watch Star Wars, remember that Yoda's wise look hides a bit of one of history's greatest scientists. You probably didn't know that corals are animals, not plants. Corals may look like lifeless stationary organisms, but they are living creatures belonging to the cnidarian family. They consist of tiny beings called polyps that feed on microscopic plankton. Polyps group together in colonies to form coral reefs, creating one of the most diverse and complex ecosystems on Earth. Despite their simplicity, corals play a crucial role in sustaining marine biodiversity, and their disappearance could alter ocean ecosystems for millennia. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Why is there a museum dedicated to pasta in Italy? Italy is the land of pasta, so it's no surprise that they have a museum devoted to this culinary masterpiece. In Rome, you can visit the Pasta Museum, where you'll find all kinds of pasta varieties, pasta-making machines, and even historic pasta. This place is for true carbohydrate enthusiasts, where you can learn about the history of creating spaghetti, fettuccine, and other types of pasta that Italians have been making for hundreds of years. Surprisingly, there are also humorous exhibits, like pasta shaped like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the Crooked Forest near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories, from human intervention to natural anomalies. The Crooked Forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery.